The first rays of sunlight creep slowly over the horizon, their golden fingers gently touching the rough stone of the cave entrance. The air feels crisp and cool, and there's a quiet hum of life stirring. Inside the cave, where the warmth of the fire still clings to the stone, a child stirs in their sleep. But there's no jarring alarm clock here, no digital buzz to signal the start of a new day. The child opens their eyes, not out of obligation, but because the rhythm of nature is their guide. The sky outside is barely light, yet their body knows it's time. They stretch, feeling the air that's just a bit warmer than the night, and instinctively turn toward their mother's arms, where warmth and safety reside. The sounds of the camp begin to wake up. Bird calls in the distance, the rustling of leaves, the slow rise of other bodies as the camp stirs to life. This is a far cry from the rush and chaos of modern days. There is no confusion, no scramble to get to work. There is just the slow, deliberate pace of a group that has lived in harmony with its surroundings for generations. The parents stir as well, their bodies creaking and stretching after a night's rest, their senses immediately attuned to the needs of the group. Was there any sign of danger in the night? How did the elderly woman's cough sound? Did the pregnant woman feel any pains in her stomach? These questions are asked and answered in the silent language of the group's collective awareness. Here, in the stillness of the dawn, is a delicate balance, where the survival of the community is measured in every waking breath. No one needs to say it aloud, but there's an understanding that every action here has been honed through generations, passed down like the careful whispers of the earth itself. The child, still nestled between the bodies of the adults, listens to the quiet breathing around them, absorbing the subtle harmony of the moment. It's a natural rhythm, uninterrupted by the artificial chaos of our modern world, but one that's just as vital to survival. And then, with the crackle of fire, the ritual begins. The firekeeper, an elder whose hands are seasoned with years of tending flames, rises from the bed of embers where the fire was carefully banked the night before. The morning air is cold, the shadows still stretching across the cave walls, but the fire must be revived. It's no simple task. The firekeeper knows this isn't just about lighting a flame, it's about preserving the heart of the community. There is no match to strike or switch to flip. Instead, they kneel beside the hearth, their fingers grazing the cooled ashes, knowing exactly where the hidden embers still burn, waiting for the breath of life. With a delicate exhale, the firekeeper blows gently on the embers. Too much air, and the fragile coals scatter. Too little, and they suffocate. Years of experience guide the elders, hand just the right amount of force, just the right amount of care. As the air stirs, the first flickers of flame burst forth, dancing in the dim light of morning. The fire crackles to life, casting flickering shadows on the stone walls of the cave, and slowly, warmth begins to spread through the camp. The firekeeper adds small twigs first, gathering dry kindling stored from the previous day. The process is deliberate, the materials chosen with courage, piece carefully selected for its burning properties. The fire burns hotter now, sending its heat into the cool air, and with it comes a sense of comfort, but also a sense of power. Fire is more than just warmth. It is technology, it is survival, it is connection. As the flames crackle, the firekeeper's task shifts. This fire isn't just for one person, it will be shared with the entire community. This small flame will become the social heart of the settlement, a beacon in the wilderness, a signal of life to those in the distance. The fire is their lifeline. Without it, the group would not survive. And so, the firekeeper's hands move with purpose, careful not to let the flame falter, understanding that this is a job passed down through generations. This flame carries knowledge, it carries the past, and it carries their very future. As the fire burns bright and steady, the adults begin to gather. There's no formal meeting, no set agenda, but the group instinctively knows it's time for the morning council. It's not a formalized ritual, but it is vital. The fire, now crackling warmly, serves as the center point of the settlement, a place where decisions are made, where problems are discussed, and where the future of the group is shaped. The fire itself seems to pull the members of the community toward it, gathering them around its warmth like moths to a flame. There is a calmness to this gathering, a sense of familiarity and purpose. Everyone knows their role here. One by one, the members of the group share their knowledge. The hunter reports on fresh tracks, seen near the water source, perhaps deer, but wary ones. A gatherer mentions that the hazelnut groves across the valley should be ready for harvesting soon. Another person points out that the wind has shifted, signaling a change in the weather. These aren't idle conversations, but the very backbone of their survival. These are observations that, if ignored, could mean the difference between life and death. Decisions aren't rushed or made in haste. There's no need for a vote, no need for a hierarchy. Everyone who has something to say is heard. Even the youngest members of the group offer their observations, ideas that, though unpolished, carry weight. It is a form of consensus, a system where every voice has a place, no matter how small or unrefined. This isn't a democracy in the modern sense, but it is the essence of shared responsibility and collective survival. The conversation turns practical, focusing on the day's work. The firekeeper shifts their position slightly, tending to the embers as the council takes shape. No one person leads the group here. Instead, leadership is earned through respect, competence, and experience. There's no grand speech, no fanfare. The decisions that are made today will be based on practical wisdom passed down through the years. The hunter reporting on deer tracks suggests a particular route to pursue, though others agree it's best to take a circuitous route, checking a few other spots along the way. The group will spread out to harvest hazelnuts, collect water, and continue work on the shelters. Each task is given to those with the most experience or skill. It's not about assigning meaningless chores, but about putting each individual's strengths to good use. There is no sense of wasted time here. Every action, every decision, has purpose. There is no busy work. There is no aimless wandering. Everything is done with a goal in mind. This is survival, but it's also the art of living in a way that we, today, might struggle to understand. As the day's plan settles into place, the water carriers begin to prepare for their journey. It's not a quick, simple task. Water isn't just a tap away. It requires a journey. The group that heads out to the stream will carry heavy animal bladder containers or woven baskets, each one crafted to be sturdy when full yet light when empty. These containers aren't something made on a whim. They've been tested through trial and error, learned over generations of work. Some groups use gourd vessels, others hollowed birch bark, each chosen for its durability and usefulness. But getting the water is just the first part of the task. This is a safety mission as well. The water source attracts more than just thirsty humans. Predators are drawn here too. Dawn and dusk are the most dangerous times, and every step is taken with caution. The group doesn't just walk, they observe. Tracks are carefully examined. A broken branch might signal the presence of a bear. Disturbed earth could mean a herd of deer passed through. These aren't just signs. They are stories. The water carriers gather intelligence. They are scouts, detectives, and survivors, all in one. Their route is planned, not just for the quickest journey, but for safety and efficiency. And when they return, it isn't just about the water they carry buckets, about the knowledge they bring with them. The future of the group's day depends on their vigilance. The journey is long, but as they approach the water source, they aren't alone. The land surrounding them tells its own stories, with every track and disturbed leaf offering up its secret. The water isn't the only resource the group depends on. Fresh plant finds can make the difference between a quick meal or going hungry until the next hunt. As they fill the containers, their senses remain sharp. The gathering and the water collection are done side by side, each action flowing naturally into the next. This efficiency is key to their survival. The moment they step away from the water source, they shift into the next task, the collection of edible plants. The group divides into smaller units, with each member moving through the landscape like skilled eclipse. One picks tubers, another gathers herbs, while a third looks for berries. The knowledge of plants isn't just memorized, it's lived, tested, and passed down through the generations. With the water securely in hand, the gathering mission continues. The tools of the gatherers are no different than the ones used by the Toolmaker's: sharp stones, woven baskets, and fire-hardened sticks. As they walk through the landscape, they scan for any signs of plant growth. This isn't a casual stroll through the forest. It's a meticulous search. There's a sense of urgency here, but it's not panic. It's the calm urgency of people who understand what's at stake. As they collect, they don't just gather food for today. They gather intelligence for tomorrow, next week, and even the seasons ahead. It's a knowledge passed down from one generation to the next, and accumulated wisdom that guides their every step. As one elder woman crouches to pull a tuber from the ground, she shares her knowledge with a young girl, teaching her which plants are edible and which ones can be dangerous. The child watches with wide eyes, absorbing the lessons in silence, not realizing that these moments are shaping the person they will one day become. This world is as complex as the one we live in today. It's a place where every action has meaning, every task has purpose, and the bonds of community are woven through shared knowledge and collective responsibility. And as the sun rises higher, the day begins in earnest. with the rhythms of life continuing to play out just as they have for thousands of years. But even in this seemingly timeless existence, there are secrets waiting to be uncovered, secrets that, perhaps, we have only just begun to understand. As the day progresses and the fire continues to crackle with steady heat, something remarkable happens. A soft hum of activity fills the air. The first small group prepares to head out on the day's hunt. It isn't the dramatic, high-stakes chase we often imagine in the movies. There are no epic, life-or-death battles with mammoths or wild predators. No, this hunt is much more subtle, grounded in patience and calculated precision. The group of hunters, perhaps 3 or 4 of them, gather around their tools, a collection of spears, each crafted to perfection. They test the sharpness of the tips, their hands steady, the weight of each weapon now familiar after years of use. These aren't just tools of survival. They are extensions of the hunter's body, a dance between nature and skill. They move as one, their actions deliberate, their silence purposeful. Their eyes flicker between the terrain, scanning the land for any signs of movement. There are no rushes to action, no frantic energy. This is measured, methodical hunting at its finest. One hunter reports seeing fresh tracks near the river, but as the prince, an elder hunter, points out, they may be wary. The deer know the predator's patterns. They know that danger might be near. It's a subtle reminder that the wilderness is always full of life and death. The hunt begins with a single decision, a moment of agreement that sets everything into motion. The plan is simple but critical. Move quietly, stay downwind, and work together as a team. There are no solo acts here. Every member of the hunting party has a part to play, from positioning to timing. The success of the hunt hinges on their ability to communicate without words, to move with the grace of a unit that has hunted together for years. As they set off into the early morning mist, the silence between them speaks volumes. Each one knows what's at stake, not just for themselves, but for the survival of the group. Back at camp, the mood is different, but the same sense of purpose remains. While the hunters are out, the camp is alive with other tasks that must be done to ensure the group's survival. Among these tasks, the most important one is the continued work on tools. The toolmaker sits cross-legged near the fire, a steady hum of activity surrounding them. But there's no rush. The toolmaker is focused entirely on the stone in front of them. They begin the delicate process of selecting the perfect rock, testing it for its potential to break in a predictable way. The hands of the toolmaker move with practiced ease, their eyes scanning the surface of the stone, reading it like a language that only they understand. The tools they create won't just serve a single purpose. Each one must be versatile, capable of standing up to the harsh demands of the wild. This process isn't quick, it's painstakingly slow, the kind of craft that takes years to perfect. The toolmaker's hands, scarred and calloused, strike with the exact amount of force needed to remove a flake, revealing the sharp edge beneath. It's a calculated risk. One wrong strike could ruin hours of work. Every moment requires focus, precision, and patience. As they work, the fire crackles beside them, its warmth curling around the toolmaker's body, creating a quiet space of concentration amid the communal bustle of camp life. It's a life that requires constant learning. Even the children gather around the toolmaker, drawn to the rhythmic sound of stone on stone. Their eyes are wide, not fully understanding, but absorbing everything they see. Perhaps the youngest will one day take on this task, but for now, they watch, knowing that in time, they will learn the craft themselves. This is how knowledge is passed down, not in classrooms, not through books, but through doing. The quiet observation of life, passed from one generation to the next. The toolmaker isn't the only one teaching today. The gatherers, led by the women of the community, prepare for their own task, collecting food from the landscape. Unlike the hunters, who are often off in the wilderness searching for game, the gatherers know their territory intimately. The women, seasoned and wise, lead the way, each with their own knowledge of the plants that thrive in different seasons. Today, they are searching for tubers, edible roots, and berries that may have ripened in the warm sun. The men join in, not because they can't hunt, but because this task is about knowledge, not strength. It's about understanding the land and the plants that grow from it. As they move through the forest, each step is purposeful. The air is thick with the smell of earth, the fragrance of plants that will nourish the group for the days to come. A young girl bends down to inspect a new plant she hasn't seen before. She pulls a small berry from its stem and crushes it between her fingers. She knows the drill. If there's any doubt about a plant's safety, she tests it carefully on her skin, then on her lips, and finally, on her tongue. This is an ancient method, passed down for generations. It's a way of learning, a slow, deliberate process that requires both caution and confidence. The elder woman, who has seen this ritual countless times, nods with approval. They continue their journey, each person's hands moving swiftly as they gather the resources that will sustain the group. There's a rhythm to it, gathering, testing, selecting, all in the same motion. The knowledge is both practical and spiritual. It is life in its purest form, balanced between understanding and respect for nature. The air is thick with the sounds of conversation, but also with quiet moments of connection. The elder shares a story about a time when the weather shifted unexpectedly, and the plants they relied on failed. It's a reminder that while knowledge is powerful, nature is unpredictable. It's a lesson learned in the toughest of ways. Meanwhile, the sun climbs higher in the sky, and the midday heat begins to settle over the camp. As the temperature rises, the community shifts into a rhythm of rest. The hunting party is still out, but their return is expected soon. The elders gather around the fire, taking stock of the tools and materials they've collected, sharpening blades, and preparing for what will come next. It's a quieter part of the day, a time for reflection and for slow, deliberate movement. This isn't laziness, it's intelligent adaptation to the environment. It's a moment of rest, but also a time for sharing. It's here, during this slower part of the day, that the community bonds in ways we no longer do. The elders pass on their wisdom, not through lectures, but through stories, through shared experience. A woman sits with a bundle of reeds, weaving them together into a basket. She speaks to the others about the weather patterns, how the seasons have shifted over the years, how the winds now blow differently, signaling the coming changes. The youngest of the children listens intently, their faces lit with curiosity. They are learning the rhythms of life, the subtle cues that the land offers about what's to come. The camp isn't idle, it's simply in a state of preparation, of quiet productivity that often gets overlooked in our world of frantic busyness. It's a hum of activity, a pulse that matches the land itself, as steady as the movements of nature. The work continues, but now it's softer, quieter, more reflective. As the afternoon wears on, another group heads out to continue the search for food, particularly the tubers and roots they know are buried just beneath the surface of the soil. The ground is warm, the sun's rays soaking deep into the earth. With practiced hands, the gatherers dig, their tools simple yet effective, cutting through the dirt and revealing the hidden treasures below. The process is slow but necessary. The gatherers work in pairs, one digging while the other carefully collects what's unearthed. There is a rhythm to it, a quiet, purposeful rhythm. There's no rush, no sense of panic. They work because they have to, because without this, there is no survival. It's a daily task, something that will be repeated over and over, season after season. The earth gives what it can, but only if it's treated with respect. As the tubers are collected, a young boy looks on, his eyes wide with curiosity. He watches as the older gatherer hands him a route to examine. It's his first time participating in the collection, and there's a hint of nervousness in his hands, but he watches, listens, and then begins to work, mirroring the movements of the adults. It's a moment of transition, a passing of knowledge from one generation to the next. It's a subtle yet profound process that has been happening for millennia. The earth, the plants, the tools, they are all part of the story. The boy's learning, slow as it may be, is the future of this group's survival. As the sun begins to dip lower, the work continues, but the light is softer, the earth cooler. The group returns, their baskets full, their bodies tired but content. They have enough for today, enough to ensure that the cycle continues. Back at the camp, the first hunter returns, his steps slow but purposeful as he enters the circle of the settlement. The camp stirs with a quiet murmur of excitement. The rest of the group gathers around him as he lays the deer on the ground. It's not a grand trophy, but it's enough. The success of the hunt is clear, and the community knows that this meat will nourish them through the coming days. The hunter's movements are slow as he works with others to dress the deer, to break it down into pieces that can be cooked or stored for later. The air is filled with the sounds of the work, the scrape of knives on bone, the soft thud of meat hitting stone. It's a process that has been refined over centuries, and every part of the animal will be used. Nothing is wasted. The antlers will become tools or weapons. The bones will be carved into needles or tools. Even the sinew will be used for making thread. There's a sense of reverence in the way the work is done. Every movement is efficient, every action carefully considered. As the meat is distributed, it's not just about satisfying hunger, it's about reinforcing the social bonds of the group. The portion sizes are carefully measured, ensuring that the most vulnerable pregnant women, the elderly, get their fair share. The hunter who made the kill eats last, a quiet reflection of the group's values: generosity, community, and survival. The feast is humble, but the sense of accomplishment is palpable. The hunt is more than just food. It's a celebration of life, of cooperation, and of the profound connection these people have to their land. With the day drawing to a close, the sun's light softens, and the camp begins to settle back into its familiar rhythm. The fire burns lower now, casting longer shadows across the cave walls. The air grows cooler, and the final tasks of the day begin. The toolmaker finishes up the last of the day's work, storing their tools carefully. The gatherers return with their baskets full, their hands tired but satisfied. Even the children begin to gather their toys, preparing for the night. There's a quiet sense of accomplishment in the camp, a satisfaction that comes from knowing that each person, young and old, has played a part in ensuring the survival of the group. This is the world of the Paleolithic people, one filled with complexity, with purpose, and with a deep connection to the land. Their day may not have been full of grandiose adventures or dramatic struggles, but it was filled with the small, deliberate actions that allowed them to survive, to thrive, and to pass on their knowledge to future generations. It's a rhythm that has been repeated for thousands of years, a dance of survival, of community, and of understanding the world in ways that we are only just beginning to appreciate. The fire continues to burn, steady and unyielding, at the heart of the settlement as the group begins to settle into its rhythm. But despite the work being done, the most crucial part of the day is yet to come: the distribution of food. As the hunter returns with his kill, he brings more than just sustenance. He brings a symbol of the community's survival. The hunter places the deer down, and the camp falls silent for a moment. It's not a dramatic silence there, no grand speeches or it's a simple moment of recognition. A shared understanding that the hunt was successful, and that this meal is vital to the group's well-being. One by one, the group gathers around, watching as the meat is carefully cut and divided, the meat sectioned off in a way that reflects the group's values. There are no loud demands, no arguments. Each portion is given with respect. The portions go first to those who need it most: the elderly, the children, the pregnant women. The rest of the group will follow, but the hunter, who made the kill, eats last. It's a tradition that binds the group together, a reminder that survival depends on generosity, sharing, and understanding the needs of others. The meat is cooked over the fire, the smell filling the air, a reminder that the cycle of life, death, and rebirth is constantly in motion. The hunter, though exhausted from the journey, watches the camp eat with quiet satisfaction. There's no pride in his actions, just the deep, humble knowledge that his work, and the work of everyone else, has ensured the continuation of life. The food that is shared here is more than just sustenance. It's a symbol of the community's strength, its cooperation, and its ability to thrive against the odds. As the fire burns low, the camp shifts into a quieter rhythm. The day's work is winding down, but there is still much to do. It's now time to turn attention to the tools and materials needed to prepare for tomorrow. The work of the hunters and gatherers is never done. There are always tools to sharpen, clothes to mend, and shelters to maintain. The camp, though seemingly calm, is a hive of activity. The toolmaker's hands continue to work, guided by years of expertise in the careful, deliberate process of creation. The young apprentices sit nearby, their eyes watching intently, absorbing every movement. One of them, a young boy, picks up a rough stone and tries to mimic the toolmaker's actions. His movements are clumsy, the stone slipping from his fingers, but the elder doesn't scold him. Instead, there's a small nod of encouragement, a subtle reminder that learning is a gradual process. The boy tries again, more carefully this time, feeling the weight of the stone in his hands, attempting to understand the delicate balance of force and precision. This is how it has always been done. The knowledge passed down through generations, not through books or formal education, but through observation and practice. The boy's hands are small, his tools crude, but already there is a glimmer of the skill he will one day possess. The toolmaker watches, not with impatience, but with quiet pride. This is the future, unfolding slowly before their eyes. The fire crackles beside them, providing both warmth and light as the elder's hands work with expert precision, shaping the stone into the perfect tool. Every strike, every movement, is part of a larger process that has been honed over millennia. The firelight flickers across their faces, illuminating the quiet intensity of the moment. Here, in this humble camp, the foundation of human civilization is being built one tool one lesson at a time. As the evening deepens, the community gathers for what may seem like the simplest of activities, but there is nothing simple about it. The campfire flickers as the group settles in around it, each person finding their place in the circle. The children, eager and wide-eyed, curl up against their parents, waiting for the first words to be spoken. The storyteller, usually an elder or respected member of the community, begins with a soft voice, speaking in a rhythm that is both comforting and mesmerizing. The stories are more than just entertainment. They are the lifeblood of the group's culture, passed down through the generations. The children listen intently, their eyes fixed on the storyteller's every word. These stories are not just about adventure or mystery, they are survival guides, moral lessons, and history lessons rolled into one. A tale of how the group survived a harsh winter, or how they learned to track the elusive deer, or how the first tool was made, is shared with the young ones. These stories, passed down from one generation to the next, ensure that the knowledge of the elders will never be forgotten. And as the firelight dances, it's easy to imagine the flickering shadows on the cave walls, turning ordinary shapes into mysterious figures, animals, and creatures. The stories come to life in these shadows, each flicker of light and dark adding a layer of magic and mystery to the tale. The children, eyes wide with wonder, ask questions, their voices rising in excitement as they hear of the past, of their ancestors who walked the earth before them. And the elders, with a quiet smile, share their knowledge with patience and care. This is how the community thrives, through shared wisdom, through connection to the past, and through the deep understanding that each generation must pass on what they know to the next. As the storytelling comes to an end, the fire burns lower, its warmth still comforting against the encroaching night. The group begins to settle in for the night, but not before one final task guarding the camp. As the day fades into night, the night watch comes into play. It's a job that requires vigilance, patience, and a deep understanding of the wilderness. A lone figure stands at the edge of the camp, eyes scanning the horizon. The shadows are long now, stretching across the land as the world grows quieter. The night watch doesn't speak much, but their presence is felt, an unspoken promise that the group will remain safe. There are predators in the night, creatures that would pose a danger to the camp if given the chance. The guards know this, and their vigilance is the first line of defense. The sound of the wind rustling through the trees is the only noise that breaks the silence. The night feels endless, but the watch is never alone. The guard's senses are heightened, every rustle of leaves, every sound from the darkened woods, analyzed and processed. The presence of danger is ever looming, but the guard is prepared. It's not just about keeping watch for predators. It's about ensuring the community's safety. If danger approaches, the guard will alert the camp. The rest of the community sleeps, unaware of the vigilance that keeps them safe. There is a quiet sense of duty in the night air, a recognition that the work is never truly done. The guard doesn't mind. It's a role they've been trusted with, one that ensures the group can rest peacefully. And as the night passes, the guard remains steadfast, eyes focused on the dark horizon. The first light of morning begins to push through the trees, signaling the end of the night watch. The guard, still standing watch, feels a quiet sense of relief, knowing that the worst of the night has passed. As the rest of the camp stirs and begins to wake, there's a quiet transition, like a baton being passed from one set of responsibilities to the next. The hunter's return is met with quiet pride, and the day's plan begins to take shape. There are tasks to be done, water to be gathered, tools to be sharpened, food to be prepared. But the night watch remains important, a subtle but essential task that allows the group to function in peace. The night may seem long, but as part of the natural cycle of life here, just as the hunter and gatherer work to ensure the survival of the group during the day, the guard ensures that the camp remains safe throughout the night. These roles are woven together, each one essential for the group's survival. The night watch may seem simple, but it's part of a much larger system of vigilance, protection, and responsibility that holds the community together. With the sun now fully risen, the tasks of the day begin anew. The hunter, having returned to rest, sits quietly by the fire, sharpening his spear, the weight of his past successes and failures evident in his movements. It's a time for reflection, but also preparation. Tomorrow will bring more challenges, more work, but, for now, the group has what they need. They have food, water, shelter, and each other. The work is hard, but it is shared. There is no hierarchy, no one person above the rest. This is a community, bound together by the simple but profound understanding that survival is not about one individual, it's about the group. In the quieter moments of the day, It's easy to forget just how much work goes into ensuring the survival of a community like this. The tasks may seem small: gathering water, preparing food, making tools, but each one is essential. Each one is a thread in the tapestry of survival. The people here don't just work to survive, they work to thrive. They share knowledge, they teach, they learn, and they build. And in doing so, they create a legacy that will last for generations to come. It's a rhythm that has existed for thousands of years, and it will continue long after today's work is done. As the evening deepens, the rhythm of the camp slows, and the once bustling fire now flickers low, casting long shadows across the rugged faces of the community. But for some, the work never truly ends. The elder Toolmaker, though, tired from a long day of crafting, continues to work as the firelight dances around them. There's a quiet sense of purpose in their hands, moving with precise and practiced ease, as though the night has its own rhythm. They've worked through countless hours, honing their craft and creating tools that will be used not just by the adults, but by the children learning in the shadows. Each strike against stone isn't just about creating a tool, it's an act of preservation, a way of passing down knowledge. It's an art form that transcends time. As the Toolmaker chisels another piece of flint, their movements are slow, almost meditative, yet full of intent. They pause occasionally, examining the stone closely, as though searching for something hidden within its rough exterior. It's not a job done in haste. Each piece of stone must be chosen with care, and the right angle, the right force, must be applied. A single mistake could waste hours of labor, but the Toolmaker doesn't flinch. There's a deep trust in the process, a trust born from years of experience. As they shape the edge of the stone into a sharp point, the Toolmaker glances over at the young apprentice, who watches with wide eyes, absorbing every detail. The boy isn't quite ready to create tools of his own, but he's learning the process of observation, of patience, of mastery. The fire crackles softly in the background, filling the air with warmth and light as the boy mimics the movements of the elder. There's a subtle beauty in this quiet exchange, the transfer of knowledge from one generation to the next, unspoken yet profoundly felt. The apprentice doesn't need to ask questions. He learns through doing, through trial and error, through his own mistakes, and through the steady guidance of the elder. And as the firelight flickers in the Toolmaker's weathered face, there's a shared understanding this knowledge will never be lost, not while there are hands to pass it down to. As night begins to settle over the camp, the gathering activities shift, and the quiet rhythm of life continues. In the deep shadows near the fire, the young children begin their own form of player practice. To the outside eye, might seem inconsequential, but to those who understand, is a vital form of learning. A group of children huddle together, using small twigs and stones to fashion crude models of tools and weapons. They mimic the actions of their elders, learning the motions of tool-making, hunting, and survival. Their hands are small, their tools far from perfect, but that's not the point. The point is that they are learning. One child, no older than 6, concentrates deeply as they attempt to shape a piece of stone. It's a rough attempt, the flake breaking too early, but the child doesn't stop. With a determination that mirrors the Toolmaker's careful strikes, the child picks up another stone and tries again. The adults watch on, nodding with approval. This isn't just play, it's practice. Through these small, imperfect attempts, the children are gaining the skills they will need to survive in a world that demands resourcefulness and intelligence. The youngest of the children play with dolls fashioned from twigs and grass, but even their games serve a purpose. The dolls are part of a larger cultural practice, a way of passing down family roles, social dynamics, and responsibilities. In their games, the children play at gathering food, building shelters, and caring for younger siblings. It's all part of the education system here, an education that doesn't take place in a classroom, but in the living, breathing world around them. The parents, who watch from the shadows of the firelight, offer quiet encouragement, knowing that these moments, these games, are just as important as the formal lessons they will receive in later years. And as the fire burns low and the children fall asleep, nestled close to their parents, for warmth, the world of their ancestors continues to pass from generation to generation, carried forward by the hands of the youngest. The night settles deeper, and the faint sounds of crickets fill the air as the camp quiets down. Yet even as the community prepares for rest, a sense of readiness never fades. Throughout the night, the camp is watched over by a pair of night guards, whose vigilance is as essential to the group's survival as the fire itself. The guard, standing on the outer edge of the camp, scans the landscape. The stars above seem to pulse in the vastness of the sky, and the night is filled with the soft rustling of the wind through the trees. The guard knows that predators may still be prowling in the shadows, drawn to the warmth of the campfire or the scent of food. The guard's posture is relaxed but alert, every sense attuned to the subtle shifts in the environment. It's a job that doesn't come with thanks, but the guard doesn't mind. The community sleeps soundly, unaware of the dangers that lurk in the darkness. But that's why the guard is here, ensuring their safety, ensuring that the group can rest and prepare for tomorrow without fear of predators creeping too close. The night is long, and the work of the guard is often unacknowledged, but it is vital. The predators that roam the wilderness are often silent and unseen, but the guard's keen senses are always alert. Every creak of a tree branch, every snap of a twig underfoot is analyzed, dissected, and understood. There is no room for doubt in this role. The guard can feel the tension in the air, the way it shifts with every new sound. A moment of stillness. The guard takes a deep breath, scanning the horizon once more. Nothing. But even in the silence, the guard remains vigilant. As the night stretches on, their mind remains alert, ready for whatever the darkness might bring. And so, the cycle continues as steady, silent watch that ensures the safety of those who rest, the unwavering presence of someone who holds the night at bay. With the day's work done and the night watch in place, the rest of the camp settles into a sense of routine. As the first glimmer of light pushes through the horizon, signaling the arrival of dawn, the night guard feels the shift. Their watch is ending, and the day begins anew. The night fades, and with it, the duties of the night guard pass to another. The quiet hum of the camp stirs once again. The fire still burns, though its light is weaker now, and the crackling embers pop and hiss as the first rays of morning sun touch the ground. Slowly, the community begins to rise, stretching and yawning in the soft morning light. Children stir from their slumber, rubbing their eyes and crawling to their parents for comfort. The women who gathered food the day before, their bodies tired from the long hours of work, stretch and begin to ready themselves for the next round of tasks. There's a soft murmur as the day's activities begin to take shape. Who will gather more water? Who will help with the repairs to the shelter? Who will continue working on the tools? These are questions that are asked without a word, simply understood. The community flows into action, each person taking on the task they've been assigned. It's a rhythm that's been honed over centuries, where everyone knows their role, everyone has their place. It's a system that ensures the survival of the group, but it's also a system that fosters deep connections that go beyond mere survival, into the realm of shared responsibility, mutual respect, and love. And so, with the coming of dawn, the fire burns once more, the embers glowing softly as the new day begins. As the camp begins to stir, the hunters rise early, their movements quiet and precise as they prepare for the day ahead. The hunt is always the most challenging task of the day, but it is also the most rewarding. Today, like every day, the goal is simple. Find food. But how they find that food, how they track their prey, how they move through the land is anything but simple. The hunters gather together in a small group, each of them readying their weapons, inspecting their tools, making sure that everything is in order. The hunt today will require precision, as the deer are cautious, wary of predators, and difficult to track. The hunters take stock of the land, scanning the horizon, feeling the wind on their faces. They work together, communicating with subtle hand signals, each of them aware of the other's movements. They are a unit, working in harmony with nature, but also with each other. The landscape around them feels alive, each patch of ground, each turn in the path, a clue that might lead to their prey. Their eyes are sharp, their movements measured. Every footstep is calculated. Their surroundings are quiet, but the tension is palpable. Every second feels like it could break into action at any moment. The hunters move with confidence, knowing that they are the masters of their environment. They know the land, the animals, the weather. They have learned it all through experience, and it's this deep knowledge that will guide them to success. But the land is not without its dangers, and the hunt, no matter how carefully planned, is never certain. But that uncertainty is part of the thrill. The moment of truth is always just ahead, waiting to reveal itself. As they move closer to the clearing where they've spotted their prey, their senses heighten. Every rustle of the leaves, every shift in the air, could mean the difference between success and failure. They are ready, and they are waiting. As the hunters approach their target, the air becomes thick with anticipation. Their steps grow even more deliberate as they move into position. There is no rush, no need for reckless urgency. In fact, it's the opposite. This is a moment of control. The hunters move silently, like shadows among the trees, each one aware of their surroundings, of each other, and of the prey they are about to hunt. The hunt isn't just about the physical act of tracking, it's about timing, about patience. As the deer graze in the distance, unaware of the threat creeping closer, the hunters position themselves, taking up their spots in a carefully orchestrated plan. Each hunter knows their role, understands exactly where they need to be, what they need to do when the time comes. It's a waiting game, one that requires both physical endurance and mental strength. The wind shifts slightly, and they adjust, knowing that their timing is crucial. The deer, their senses sharp, pause and look up, sensing something is amiss. The hunters freeze. The moment is tense, every muscle in their bodies is coiled, ready to spring into action. But they must wait. The tension stretches between the hunters and their prey, a thin line of anticipation that could snap at any moment. And then, in an instant it does. A coordinated strike, a swift movement, and the spear flies through the air. It lands true, hitting its mark. The moment of success is both thrilling and quiet, a single heartbeat of victory that reverberates through the entire group. The hunt is over. The group gathers around the kill, working quickly and efficiently to process the meat, knowing that this is more than just food eats life. With the hunt successfully concluded and the meat brought back to camp, the community gathers once again, this time around the fire, the heart of their existence. The smell of freshly cooked meat fills the air, signaling the start of a meal that represents more than just food. It's a communal ritual, a reminder of the group's dependence on one another, and a shared celebration of the day's success. As the first pieces of meat are cut and passed around, the division is deliberate. The elderly, the children, and the pregnant women receive their portions first, with special care given to those who need sustenance the most. The rest of the group follows, each person receiving their share in the unspoken understanding that survival is a collective responsibility. The hunter who made the kill watches quietly as the meat is distributed. There is no pride in his gaze, no sense of personal victory, only the quiet satisfaction of knowing that the community is nourished and that the cycle of survival continues. The meat is consumed with a mixture of reverence and gratitude. There is no waste here, no careless indulgence. Every scrap, every bone, every sinew is used. The bones will be cracked for marrow, the hides prepared for clothing, and the sinew will be made into thread for tools. It's a world where nothing is wasted, where every part of the animal, every resource, is fully utilized. As the fire flickers low, the group settles into a quiet rhythm, eating and talking in soft voices. The hunters share stories of the chase, recounting the details of the hunt with hand gestures and low murmurs, mimicking the movements of the prey, replaying the moment the spear found its mark. This isn't just a meal, it's an opportunity to bond, to share knowledge, and to pass down tradition. The children listen eagerly, absorbing the tales and the lessons hidden within them. The fire burns low, casting dancing shadows on the faces of the community. It's a moment of peace, of connection, and of survival. In these simple acts of sharing and caring, the group finds strength and unity, and the day's work is marked not just by the tasks completed, but by the relationships that are reinforced around the fire. As the fire dims and the last of the meal is finished, the day's work isn't truly over. The group begins to settle into its nighttime routine, but there's always something left to do. The tools, those essential instruments of survival, require constant maintenance. The hunters who have returned from their successful hunt take a moment to inspect their spears and axes, making sure the tips are sharp and ready for tomorrow's challenges. The grindstone is brought out, the familiar sound of stone on stone, filling the air as the sharp edges are honed. This task, though seemingly small, is crucial. The tools must be kept in top condition to ensure the success of the next hunt. It's a ritual as important as the hunt itself requires. Focused task that demands attention to detail and the understanding that tomorrow will require the same skill and precision. As the toolmakers work, they offer quiet advice to the younger members of the group, teaching them how to maintain their tools, how to care for the very instruments that will ensure their survival. The young apprentices watch intently, their eyes following the movements of the elders, learning not just the mechanics of toolmaking, but the philosophy behind it. There's a respect here, an understanding that each tool is more than just an object. It's a product of years of practice, of accumulated knowledge, and of the careful, deliberate work that goes into shaping the future. As the fire burns lower, the tools are put aside, their edges now sharp and ready. The group settles in for the night, knowing that tomorrow will bring more work, more challenges, and more opportunities for learning and growth. But for now, the rhythm of the day has come to an end, and the quiet, steady beat of the camp continues, anchored by the glowing embers of the fire. As the day turns to night, the camp becomes a place of rest, but also of reflection. It's here, by the fire, that the community comes together once again, not for work, but for connection. The evening rituals are as important as the work done during the day. As the firelight flickers, casting long shadows across the camp, the elders begin to tell stories that have been passed down through generations, woven into the fabric of their culture. These aren't just tales of adventure or mystery. They are the very essence of their survival. The stories teach the young ones how to track animals, how to read the signs of the land, how to understand the seasons and the shifting patterns of the world around them. They are stories of past hardships, of survival against the odds, and of the resilience of the human spirit. The children listen intently, their wide eyes fixed on the storyteller's every word. These aren't idle tales. They are lessons, survival guides wrapped in narrative, preparing the young ones for the challenges they will one day face. The elders speak with authority, their voices rich with experience and wisdom. They have lived through the stories they tell, and it is this lived knowledge that they impart to the next generation. But these stories aren't just about survival. They are also about identity. The fire is the center of the community, not just physically, but culturally. It's around this fire that their shared history is passed down, where the bonds of kinship are forged. As the stories unfold, the community grows closer. The children ask questions, eager to learn, and the adults respond with patience and care. There's no rush, no sense of urgency. This is a time for learning, for bonding, and for understanding the deeper truths of the world around them. The fire crackles in the background, a constant presence, providing warmth, light, and the foundation for these stories to live on. As the evening stretches on and the night deepens, the fire continues to burn, but the camp slowly quiets down. The work is done for the day, and now it's time for rest. The children, their bellies full and their minds buzzing with the stories they've heard, curl up near their parents for warmth. They drift off to sleep with the sounds of the fire crackling and the gentle hum of the night surrounding them. But the adults, even in the stillness of the night, remain alert. The night guard takes their place at the edge of the camp, standing watch as the rest of the community sleeps. Their job is simple, but crucial. The dangers of the night are very real. There are predators in the darkness, always lurking, always waiting. The guard, however, is prepared. Their senses are sharp, their movements calculated. They scan the area around the camp, watching for any signs of danger. The wind stirs in the trees, and every sound is analyzed. Is it just the wind, or is something else stirring in the darkness? The guard's eyes narrow as they listen closely, their body tense, ready for any sign of danger. It's a job that requires patience and vigilance, but it's a job that keeps the camp safe. The community sleeps, unaware of the dangers that lurk just beyond the firelight. But the guard is there, standing between them and the unknown. They are the silent protectors of the night, ensuring that the group remains safe, and that the cycle of life continues without interruption. And as the night stretches on, the guard remains vigilant, their eyes scanning the horizon, always watching, always waiting. The first light of dawn begins to creep across the sky, signaling the end of the night watch. The guard, their bodies stiff from hours of standing, feels a sense of quiet satisfaction. The night has passed without incident, and the camp is safe. As the rest of the community begins to stir, the guard steps back into the shadows, blending into the quiet rhythm of the camp. The night shift is over, but their presence lingers, a reminder of the quiet protection that surrounds the community. As the day begins, the hunter prepares for another round of work, checking their tools, ensuring everything is in order for the day ahead. The morning routine begins again: water to be gathered, tools to be sharpened, food to be prepared. But the work of the guard, though unseen, remains essential. The community is safe because of their vigilance, their quiet commitment to the protection of those they care about. And as the sun rises higher, the cycle continues. The work of the day is already underway, but the night guard, though relieved of their duty, knows that they will be called again when the shadows fall. It is a role that doesn't demand recognition, but it is a role that holds the community together, a constant presence ensuring the survival of all. With the camp now fully awake, the hunt begins anew. The hunter, armed with his sharpened spear and his keen instincts, heads out into the wilderness once again. The rest of the community prepares for their own work, gathering water, processing tools, preparing food. The day's work is already in motion. The fire burns steady, its heat providing warmth and light for all who gather around it. But it's more than just a source of heat. The fire is the center of the camp, the place where the community comes together, where knowledge is shared, and where the future is shaped. The hunter, though far from the camp, carries with him the knowledge of the group's survival. Each step he takes is part of a larger process, a cycle of life that has been repeated for generations. The community moves as one, each person contributing in their own way. And as the day unfolds, the hunt continues. The tools are sharpened, the fire burns brightly, and the rhythms of survival continue in perfect harmony. With the end of the day approaching, the community begins to settle in. The day's work is nearly done, but there is still more to be done tomorrow. There will always be another hunt, another gathering, another cycle of survival to repeat. And yet, despite the endless work, there is a quiet satisfaction in knowing that they are part of something much larger, something that has been happening for thousands of years. Their work, though humble, contributes to the survival of the group. And as the night settles in, the fire burns steady, casting its warm glow over the camp, a beacon of survival and continuity. The cycle of life continues. The day ends, but the rhythm never stops. As the day's work wraps up and the community prepares for rest, there's still a subtle hum of activity, a quiet undercurrent that keeps the camp alive even as the night approaches. The hunters return once again, weary but satisfied with the day's results. They've spent hours tracking game through dense woods, following subtle clues to the broken branches, the fresh tracks, the faint scent of a herd and the deer they've hunted are small but enough to feed the group for the night. The hunters move through the camp with the quiet grace of those who have mastered their craft. They carry their prize with a quiet humility, knowing that the community depends on their skill and perseverance. As they enter the camp, the rest of the group gathers around, eyes lighting up at the sight of the fresh meat. The anticipation is palpable. There's no shouting or fanfare. It's not the excitement of a victory, it's the quiet satisfaction of knowing that the day's work has been fruitful. The meat will be prepared, divided, and shared among the group, and each person knows their role in the process. The hunters, after carefully placing the carcass on the ground, begin to clean and process it with practiced hands. The meat is carved and divided into portions, each cut deliberate, each piece assigned to a specific member of the group. It's not just about eating it, about ensuring that everyone's needs are met. The elderly receive the first portions, the children and pregnant women next. These aren't just rituals of respect, they are the core of survival. Without careful planning and division, the group would not thrive. The fire crackles nearby, the warmth of its flames casting a soft glow across the camp as the meat is cooked, the scent filling the air, signaling that another day has been secured, another task completed. And as the meal is shared, there's a quiet moment of connection, of knowing that the group has come together once again to support and care for one another. While the meat is prepared and distributed, there is another layer of responsibility that quietly hums beneath the surface of the community. The care and maintenance of the tools. The toolmakers, who have worked tirelessly throughout the day, now take time to inspect and refine the weapons and implements that will carry them into tomorrow. The tools are vital to every aspect of their existence, from hunting to gathering, from building shelter to preparing food. The sharpening stones are brought out, the familiar sound of stones scraping against stone filling the air. There's a rhythm to this task, a slow and deliberate process that requires patience and precision. Each hunter carefully inspects their spear, ensuring that the tip is sharp, the shaft unbroken. The tools aren't just functional, they are a reflection of the group's knowledge and ingenuity, a direct result of the trial and error that has been passed down over generations. As the toolmakers work, the children gather around, their eyes wide with curiosity. The younger sit on the edge of the firelight, watching intently as the elders sharpen their knives, fashioning new points for spears, and refining the tools that will be used for another day's labor. The children ask questions, their voices soft but eager to learn, and the elders answer with patience, their movements steady as they explain the importance of each step. The tools are more than just instruments, they are a connection to the past, a piece of the group's heritage that is being handed down. The young ones will one day take on these tasks, but for now, they learn through observation. The quiet bond between the young and the old is built here, around the fire, in the calm of the evening. The task is simple, but its significance is not lost on anyone. It's a reminder that the cycle of life, the rhythm of survival, continues through each of these small acts of maintenance, of care, of shared wisdom. As the fire burns low, the evening continues to unfold in a pattern that has existed for thousands of years. The children, tired from a long day of play, begin to settle into the warmth of their parents' arms. The hum of conversation around the fire gradually softens, as the group turns its focus to the quieter tasks that remain before the night is truly upon them. Some of the women move to prepare the shelters for the night, adjusting the coverings of the tents, or adding more branches to the shelter's framework. The movement is fluid and familiar, the work done almost instinctively, each person contributing in their own way to the collective task of keeping the group safe. It's not a formal job, there are no specific roles. Instead, it's about instinct, about the shared responsibility to ensure that everyone is protected through the night. The shelters are simple, made from branches, leaves, and animal hides, but they are sturdy, providing just enough protection from the cold. The effort that goes into maintaining these structures is subtle but essential. There's a quiet understanding that the shelter is not just a physical space, but a place of comfort and safety. It's where the group comes together at the end of a long day, where the warmth of the fire, the company of family, and the quiet peace of the night provide a sense of security. As the sun sinks below the horizon, the final touches are added, and the community begins to settle in for the night. The rhythm of life is unbroken. There are no distractions, no interruptions, only the soft rustling of leaves in the wind, the crackle of the fire, and the steady rise and fall of breath from the sleeping bodies around the camp. The world outside may be harsh and unpredictable, but in this moment, the group has everything they need: each other, the fire, and the shared knowledge that tomorrow will come, and with it, more work, more survival, and more lessons to be learned. As the camp quiets and the first stars begin to twinkle in the night sky, there is a profound stillness that settles over the group. The work for the day is done, but the sense of connectedness that has been built through every task, every shared meal, and every story told remains strong. It's a connection that is not bound by time or age, but by a collective understanding of survival. The group understands that they are only as strong as their unity. The quiet murmurs of conversation have faded into the background, and one by one, the members of the community drift off to sleep. The children are tucked in close, their bodies curled together for warmth. The adults, still alert to the subtle sounds of the night, rest with one ear tuned to the wilderness beyond the camp. The night watch is constant, a vigilant presence that ensures the safety of the group through the hours of darkness. The guard who takes the night's first shift moves quietly, a shadow in the dark, their eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of danger. The wind rustles softly through the trees, and the occasional snap of a twig is enough to keep the guard on edge. But the camp is safe for now. The fires are low, the animals are distant, and the community sleeps soundly, knowing that the quiet watch will protect them until dawn. The night stretches on, a peaceful end to a busy day, and as the stars fill the sky above, the group drifts into a deep, restful sleep, secure in the knowledge that they have each other, and that the rhythm of their lives will continue with the rising sun. As the first light of dawn peeks over the horizon, the cycle of the day begins again. The night watch passes to another, and the community begins to stir once more. The fires are rekindled, the tools are sharpened, and the routine of gathering, hunting, and maintaining the camp is set into motion once again. The pace is unhurried but steady, each person knowing their role, understanding their part in the collective effort that sustains the group. There is no rush, no frantic energy. There is simply the steady hum of life, a rhythm that has been passed down for millennia. The fire, now burning bright and strong, is the heart of the camp once more. As the group gathers around it, there's a sense of purpose in the air. Another day of survival is about to begin. Another day to hunt, to gather, to work, and to learn. The cycle continues. With the rise of the sun, the community sets to work once again. The children wake with the energy of youth, their curiosity driving them to explore the camp, to ask questions, and to play. They are the future of this group, learning through their actions and observations. The adults, though tired from the day before, move with purpose. The work may be repetitive, but it's never easy. There are always new challenges to face, new tasks to complete, and new lessons to learn. But in this community, there's a deep sense of satisfaction in the work. Every task completed brings them closer to another day of survival. And as the morning light grows stronger, the fire crackles with renewed energy. Its warmth, a constant reminder of the resilience and strength of the group. The day is just beginning, but the rhythm of survival continues to echo through every movement, every action, every moment of connection. Each day in this community is a delicate balance of effort, cooperation, and learning. The tasks may seem simple, but each one is crucial to their survival. They live not just in harmony with the land, but with each other. It is a world where knowledge is passed down through generations, where wisdom is found in the most basic tasks, and where the fire, the tools, and the people come together to create something greater than themselves. As the morning sunlight fully takes hold and the camp stirs into action, there's a buzz of quiet anticipation. The work of the day, though routine, feels like a sacred rhythm, one that has sustained these people for generations. Today, like every day, there's the critical task of securing water. It isn't a chore that can be ignored or delayed. The water carriers prepare, gathering their tools and nimble skins stretched and tied, baskets woven from branches, and especially crafted containers designed to carry precious water over long distances. The group moves with purpose, their eyes scanning the horizon, knowing that the journey will be difficult but necessary. Water is life, and without it, the group cannot survive. It's not just about the physical act of fetching water, it's also about the safety that comes with it. The path is known, but the wilds that surround them are unpredictable. As the group begins their trek, they move carefully, always aware of their surroundings. The terrain is uneven, with thick brush and jagged rocks, but the group moves with practiced ease, as though their feet know the path instinctively. They work in sync, each member of the group ensuring that the other is safe. The water carriers aren't just gathering water, they're gathering intelligence. Each step is an observation. A disturbance in the brush might indicate the presence of predators, while fresh tracks could point to a nearby herd of game. The water run is as much about survival as it is about fulfilling an immediate need. As they approach the stream, the water appears calm, shimmering beneath the canopy of trees. They kneel by the edge, carefully filling the containers, making sure not to disturb the area too much. The water is cold and clear, a welcome sight after the heat of the trek. But even as they fill their containers, the group remains alert. The air feels different now, tense, almost as if the landscape itself is holding its breath. It's a moment of quiet, of reflection, before the return journey begins. As they stand, the water safely gathered, the group takes a final sweep of the surrounding area. There's no sign of danger for now, but they know the journey back will be just as fraught with potential risks. With their load secured, the group turns and begins the trek back to camp. Their senses still sharp, their minds focused on the shared goal of survival. Back at the camp, the rest of the group is hard at work. While the water carriers are out, the hunters begin to prepare for the next phase of the day. They're used to the early morning routine, the focus, the energy required to be at their best. The hunt is always a high-stakes endeavor, one that requires the utmost skill and patience. As the hunters ready their spears and sharpen their blades, there is a quiet sense of anticipation hanging in the air. The plan for the day is simple: move quickly, stay quiet, and remain undetected by the prey. But the prey is never easy to catch. The deer, wary and quick, are always one step ahead. This is a game of precision, of understanding the land and the animals within it. The hunters check their weapons once again, making sure they are ready for the task ahead. Their hands are steady, their eyes sharp. They're not alone in this effort. One by one, the hunters nod to each other, a silent agreement that today's hunt will be successful. With practiced movements, the group sets off, moving as one through the dense foliage. The landscape is familiar to them, the curve of the river, the sound of the wind rustling through the trees, but even here, the thrill of the hunt remains. The quiet tension between predator and prey is ever present. As they move through the brush, the hunters stay low, their movements deliberate and silent. Every step is calculated, every movement measured. The wind shifts slightly, and they adjust, moving in perfect synchrony. The land feels alive around them, every rustle in the grass or fluttering of leaves a signal. The hunt is not a mere test of strength. It is a test of patience, of knowledge, of the ability to move in tune with the natural world. Every sound is important, every sign noted. The goal isn't simply to catch prey, it's to do so with respect, with understanding. There is no rush, no sense of urgency. The hunt is about precision, about making the right move at the right time. And as the group moves deeper into the forest, the excitement of the chase begins to build. The moment of truth is nearing. As the hunt progresses, the group becomes more focused, their movements even more precise. The landscape around them feels different now, quieter, as though the world is holding its breath. The deer are near, and the hunters can feel it. The air is thick with anticipation, but there's no sense of panic. Everything is calm, controlled. The hunters moving closer, their eyes scanning for any sign of movement. The quiet sound of leaves crunching underfoot signals the arrival of the deer. They are grazing in a clearing, unaware of the hunter's presence. The moment is here. The group moves into position, each member taking their place with quiet precision. The wind shifts slightly, and one of the hunters signals the others, a subtle movement that ensures they are all ready. There's no noise, no loud gestures. Every step is taken with the utmost care, the group moving as one. The air thick with the knowledge that the next few seconds will define the success of the hunt. The leader of the group raises his spear, eyes locked on the target. There is no hesitation now. The moment is theirs. With a swift motion, the spear is thrown, and it flies through the air, its tip finding its mark with a resounding thud. The deer, now aware of the danger, begins to run, but it is too late. The group moves quickly, surrounding the animal with practiced efficiency, ensuring that it is dispatched quickly and humanely. The hunt is over, but the work is just beginning. There is no time to celebrate. The animal must be processed immediately, and the meat will be shared among the group. As the group gathers around the kill, there is a quiet sense of accomplishment, not for the hunt itself, but for the skill, the patience, and the teamwork that made it possible. The hunt, like the rest of the day's work, is a shared effort, a collective achievement that ensures the survival of the group. Back at the camp, the return of the hunters is met with quiet recognition. There's no loud cheering or celebration, just a sense of calm satisfaction as the group begins to prepare the kill. The meat is divided carefully, each piece weighed and assessed for its value. The elderly, the children, and the pregnant women are given the first portions, with the understanding that their needs are greatest. The rest of the group follows, each member receiving their fair share. The meat is cooked over the fire, its scent filling the air, and for a moment, the entire community seems to pause and breathe as one. This is the moment of connection, the moment when all of their efforts come together. It's not just about eating, it's about sharing, it's about sustaining the community as a whole. The fire crackles in the background, its light casting soft shadows over the group, as they eat in quiet camaraderie. There are no distractions, no rush. The meal is not just food, it's an opportunity to bond, to reaffirm the strength of the community, and to ensure that everyone's needs are met. The silence around the fire speaks volumes. It's a silence of contentment, of deep connection, of mutual respect. Each member of the group knows that this meal is the result of the work of everyone, the hunters, the gatherers, the toolmakers, and even the children, who have learned through observation and play. The cycle of life, of work, of survival, continues, one meal, one day, at a time. As the sun sets and the meal concludes, the group begins to settle into the quiet rhythm of evening. The fire is allowed to burn low, the embers casting a soft glow over the camp. The work of the day is done, and now, like every night, the group gathers around the fire to reflect, to tell stories, and to share the experiences of the day. The elder, whose face is lined with the wisdom of many seasons, begins the story, recounting the day's events, how the hunt went, how the weather shifted, how the group moved together in harmony. The children listen intently, hanging on every word. They are learning not just the stories of their ancestors, but the lessons hidden within them. The firelight flickers across the faces of the community, and for a moment, the world outside the camp seems distant, as though the group exists in a space of its own. This is their world as fire, this land, these people, land within it. They are not alone, they are a community, bound together by the shared knowledge of survival, the shared wisdom of the land. The night deepens, and the stories continue. With each tale, the bonds of the group grow stronger. Tomorrow will bring more challenges, more work, more survival. But for now, in this moment, they rest together, knowing that the cycle of life will continue, just as it always has. With the stories winding down and the last embers of the fire flickering low, the group settles into the familiar stillness of night. The tasks of the day are complete, and the soft sounds of the wilderness surround them. The stars above seem brighter now, as though watching over the camp, their light a constant presence in the sky. The world outside the camp may be wild and untamed, but within this circle, there is safety. There is community. There is strength. The night watch takes its place, ensuring the safety of the group as they rest. The rhythm of the night is steady, the same as it has been for generations. Tomorrow will come with new challenges, new lessons, and new opportunities to work together. But for now, the cycle of survival is complete. The camp sleeps, safe in the knowledge that the land, the fire, and each other will carry them through. The fire burns low, and the camp drifts into silence. The day ends as it began, with a quiet sense of connection to the land and to each other. The rhythms of life continue, as they always have. As the final embers of the fire fade into darkness, the air grows still and cool. The last of the community drifts into sleep, the rhythmic rise and fall of their breath blending with the soft whispers of the night. The wilderness outside the camp seems far away now, the dangers and uncertainties of the world hidden by the sheltering embrace of the firelight. The night guard moves into position once more, their senses finely tuned to every rustle of the leaves, every faint sound carried on the wind. The stars are bright overhead, casting an ethereal glow across the landscape, and the guard's eyes scan the darkness with practiced precision. They know the dangers that lurk in the shadows: wolves, bears, and other predators, but they also know that their role is to protect the most vulnerable of the group. Their task is thankless, their vigilance unnoticed, but they are the silent sentinels, ensuring that the peace of the night remains unbroken. Every so often, the guard's eyes flick to the camp, checking that the fire remains low and the sleeping members of the group are safe. The wind shifts, and the guard senses something: a distant movement, the crunch of leaves underfoot. Their muscles tense, and they pause, listening carefully. But it's nothing more than the wind, or perhaps an animal moving through the underbrush. The danger has passed. The night is calm again. With a deep breath, the guard relaxes, their senses still on alert, but their body at ease. It's a quiet reassurance. The wilderness is a constant companion, but so too is the group's vigilance. The night watch will continue through the hours of darkness, ensuring that the morning comes with the same quiet certainty as the night before. And as the world sleeps, the rhythm of life continues, both in the community and in the wilderness around it. As the first light of dawn begins to seep over the horizon, the night watch is over. The guard, though weary from the night's vigilance, feels a quiet sense of accomplishment. There has been no danger, no predators to fend off, but the quiet knowledge that the camp has been safe during the night is enough. Slowly, the camp begins to stir, the soft sounds of movement marking the start of another day. The fire, now a little more than a bed of glowing embers, is rekindled with practiced hands. The quiet hum of the morning routine begins: children stretching, elders rising, and the hunters preparing for another day of work. The rhythm is familiar, but each day is slightly different. The hunters check their weapons, the gatherers prepare their baskets, and the water carriers gather their skins for the journey ahead. There's a sense of quiet energy in the air, a steady pulse that drives the community forward. The world outside the camp is still shrouded in the mist of early morning, but the camp is alive with the promise of the day ahead. The members of the group move in sync, their actions almost instinctual, a reflection of the years of experience they have gained. There are no words to explain the deep understanding that exists between them. Meat is simply known. The work is divided, the roles assigned, and each member of the group carries their share with quiet resolve. The rhythm of life continues, uninterrupted, as the morning unfolds. The hunters, though weary from the previous day's work, prepare for another round of tracking. The landscape is familiar, but the chase is never predictable. Every hunt is a new challenge, a test of skill, patience, and teamwork. The sun is still low in the sky, casting long shadows across the land as the hunters move toward the riverbanks, where they have seen fresh signs of game. Their steps are quiet, practiced, and every member of the group is aware of the role they must play. The deer, the target of today's hunt, are skittish, constantly on alert, and the hunters know that they must move with precision and care. They know the land well: the way, the river curves, the thicket where the game tends to shelter, but the animals are always one step ahead. The hunters work in unison, their eyes scanning the terrain for any movement, any clue that might indicate where the deer are feeding. Their movements are fluid, their senses heightened, as though they are part of the landscape itself. They crouch low, moving silently through the brush, each step deliberate, each breath controlled. The hunt requires not only physical endurance but mental focus. The hunters are not merely searching for food, they are testing their limits, their knowledge of the land, and their ability to adapt. Every rustle of leaves, every shift in the wind, could be a sign that the deer are nearby. And then, in an instant, the hunt shifts from silent preparation to action. The deer are spotted, grazing in a small clearing ahead. The hunters freeze, calculating the distance, the wind, the direction of the animals. They move closer, their hearts beating faster as the moment nears. They know that this will be a delicate operation. One wrong move, and the prey will flee. The tension in the air is palpable, but the hunters remain calm. They've done this before. The moment is theirs. With a single, coordinated movement, the lead hunter raises his spear and signals the others. The time has come. The hunters spring into action, their bodies moving with the precision of a well-oiled machine. The lead hunter throws his spear, the sharp tip flying through the air with deadly accuracy. There's a collective breath as the spear finds its mark. The deer jerking was surprised before running, but it's too late. The remaining hunters, already in position, move quickly to flank the animal, ensuring that it has no escape. The chase is over, the deer is down. The hunters gather around the kill, their breath steady, their movements efficient. There's no celebration, no loud cheers. This is a job well done, but it's not about victory, it's about survival. The work is far from over. The deer must be processed quickly, its meat prepared for the camp. The skin will be used for clothing, the bones for tools. Every part of the animal will be utilized, and no part will go to waste. It's a ritual of respect, one that acknowledges the life taken and the importance of using everything it has to offer. The hunters move swiftly, their hands steady, working together as a team. The task is clear: get the meat back to camp as quickly as possible. They know that the rest of the group will be waiting, ready to begin their portion of the work. And as the meat is prepared, the hunters share a quiet moment of recognition, their unspoken bond strengthened by the hunt. The hunt is over, and the community begins to prepare for the next phase of the day. As the meat is divided, the task of cooking and preserving begins. The women of the camp take the lead, gathering herbs and plants to season the meat, ensuring that every meal is not only nourishing but flavorful. The fire is built up again, its flames rising as the scent of cooking meat fills the air. The group gathers around, each member of the community playing their part. The work is divided in a way that ensures everything is done efficiently. There is no hierarchy here. The elders, the women, the children, they all contribute, and their roles are as essential as the hunters or gatherers. The children, though young, help with simple tasks, such as gathering firewood or watching over the smaller children. Their involvement is not only about contributing to the work but also about learning. They observe their parents, picking up the skills and knowledge that will one day become their own. There is no rush, no frantic energy. Everything is done with care, with thoughtfulness. Each task, no matter how small, is done with purpose. And as the meal is prepared, the sense of unity in the camp grows. The work is shared, and the results are felt by everyone. The meal is served, and once again, the fire becomes the gathering place for the group. The evening meal is not just about food. It's about connection, about reinforcing the bonds that hold the community together. The elders share stories from the past, recounting the challenges they've faced and the lessons they've learned along the way. The younger members listen with wide eyes, absorbing every word. The stories are not just about the hunt or survival, they are about life. They are about resilience, about finding ways to adapt to the ever-changing world around them. The community gathers around the fire, each person contributing their own experience, their own perspective. As the meal is shared, there is no division here. Everyone eats together, and the group is strengthened by the shared experience. The fire burns low, but the connections it creates are strong. As the meal ends, the group settles in for the night, knowing that tomorrow will bring more work, more challenges, and more opportunities to learn and grow together. As the last of the food is eaten and the camp begins to settle into the quiet of the night, there's a sense of peace that fills the air. The day's work is done, and the group is once again united around the fire. The stars above twinkle softly, their light a reminder of the vastness of the world. The camp is a small, secure place in the midst of that vastness. The work of the day is complete, but the connections that have been forged, the lessons that have been shared, and the sense of unity that has been built will carry the group through the challenges to come. Tomorrow will bring more work, more survival, but for now, the group rests, knowing that the cycle of life, of work, and of survival continues. The fire crackles softly, its warmth providing comfort in the darkened world. The night watch takes its place, ensuring that the peace of the camp remains unbroken, and, as the world sleeps, the quiet rhythm of survival continues, steady and unwavering, in the hearts of the community. And so, with the rising of the sun and the steady rhythms of life continuing, the community prepares for another day. The cycle of survival, of cooperation, and of learning continues, unbroken by the passage of time. This is their world, the world they have built together, one task at a time, one day at a time. And it is in this rhythm, this quiet, unrelenting movement, that they find their strength. The fire continues to burn, the land continues to give, and the community continues to thrive, year after year, generation after generation. With each sunrise, they are reminded of the power of connection, of knowledge, and of the shared commitment to survival. And as the night falls once more, They rest, knowing that the cycle will continue, as it has always done, for as long as they stand together. This is the timeless rhythm of life, quiet, deliberate, and enduring.